So get this. What if I told you that sleeping in on the weekend, trying to catch up on rest, could actually be the very thing that triggers your next migraine? It's a super frustrating paradox, I know, but today we're going to uncover the pretty surprising science behind how you sleep and whether or not you get a migraine.
I mean, it sounds completely backwards, right? You've had a killer week, you're exhausted, and all you want is to just catch up on some sleep. But that extra hour or two you spend in bed on Saturday can actually throw your body's natural clock way off and set you up for a massive headache. We are about to dig into exactly why this happens.
Well, welcome to Sleepedia. This is our little corner of the internet where we geek out on the science of sleep and circadian rhythms. And in this explainer, we're diving deep to understand how your sleep habits can either be your greatest weapon or your worst enemy in the fight against migraines.
Okay, so before we even get into the whole sleep connection, we've got to be on the same page about what a migraine actually is, because it's so much more than just a bad headache. It's a really complex neurological event, and knowing the difference is honestly the first step to getting a handle on it.
So, scientists call it a complex neurological condition, but here's the phrase you really need to remember. Brain hypersensitivity. Basically, it means the brain of someone who gets migraines is kind of on high alert all the time. It overreacts to things like stress, certain foods, and especially changes in your sleep.
And this slide really drives that point home. A regular headache, it's annoying for sure. But a migraine, well, it's a thief of time. It's not just a dull ache. It's this throbbing, often one-sided pain that can come with nausea and an extreme sensitivity to light and sound. It can be a full-body event that just completely takes you out of commission.
Okay, so where does sleep fit into this whole hypersensitive brain picture? Well, it turns out sleep has a super specific and, frankly, a really critical job to do every single night.
I absolutely love this analogy from the source material because it's just so perfect. Have you ever thought of it like that? Sleep is literally the dishwasher for your brain. While you're resting, this incredible system gets to work, cleaning out all the metabolic junk and waste products that build up during the day. Now this is where it gets really interesting. What happens when that dishwasher cycle gets cut short or doesn't run properly? If your sleep is fragmented, meaning you're waking up a bunch, that cleaning process just doesn't finish. You get a buildup of these waste proteins, your brain gets more inflamed, and get this, your natural pain threshold actually drops. It physically makes you more vulnerable to a migraine the next day.
And this is where we get to one of the most frustrating parts of dealing with migraines. It's this vicious cycle that can feel absolutely impossible to break.
So it all starts with just one night of bad fragmented sleep, right? The dishwasher didn't run, your brain is left in that fragile, hypersensitive state.
And because your brain is so on edge, the smallest thing can set it off. A stressful day, a change in the weather, you name it, triggering a full-blown, painful migraine attack.
And then, and this is the truly cruel part, the intense pain from that migraine makes it nearly impossible to get the deep, restorative sleep you so desperately need to recover. So you have another bad night's sleep, and bam, the cycle starts all over again. It is a brutal loop to be stuck in.
So how on earth do you break out of that loop? Well, the key might actually be hiding in plain sight, ticking away inside you right this second. We're talking about your body's secret internal clock.
That internal clock, it's called your circadian rhythm. It's this incredible 24-hour cycle that tells your body when to feel sleepy and when to feel awake. And the command center for this whole operation is a tiny little spot in your brain called the hypothalamus. Definitely remember that name.
Because this is the big reveal. This is the piece of the puzzle that changes everything. For years, scientists were trying to figure out where migraines start. And it turns out the hypothalamus, that master clock, is the exact area that lights up on brain scans right before a migraine attack kicks off. That is not a coincidence. It's a direct link.
Which all boils down to this really simple but really powerful idea. A stable rhythm equals a stable brain. When your internal clock is happy and predictable, your hypothalamus is calm. And a calm hypothalamus leads to a less hypersensitive brain, which means fewer migraines. All right, that's a lot of science, but what can you actually do about it? The good news is you've got way more control than you might think. So let's get practical. Here's a super simple 3-step plan to get that rhythm stable and help calm your brain down.
First up, the consistency rule. And trust me, this one is non-negotiable. You got to go to bed and wake up within the same 30-minute window every single day. Yes, that includes weekends. This is how you avoid that weekend migraine. Second, the darkness factor. Your room needs to be pitch black to produce melatonin, which is not just a sleep hormone, it's a natural anti-inflammatory. And third, the cool down. Your body physically needs to drop its temperature to get into that deep, brainwashing stage of sleep.
So, what's the magic number? Well, the research points to a sweet spot right around 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit, or about 18 to 20 Celsius. A cool room is absolutely key for that deep sleep cycle. Look, let's be real. Even if you do everything right, a migraine can still show up. And when it wakes you up at 2 in the morning, it is so tempting to just throw all the rules out the window. So what do? How do you manage the pain without totally wrecking your rhythm for the next day? Here's your emergency plan. Rule number 1, absolutely no bright overhead lights. That's like a shot of espresso for your brain. Second, try to stay in bed. Even if you're not actually sleeping, just resting in the dark helps keep your internal clock on schedule. And finally, and I cannot stress this enough, do not look at your phone. That blue light tells your hypothalamus to shut down melatonin and wake up, the exact opposite of what you need. The connection is just undeniable. When you take steps to protect the consistency and the quality of your sleep, you are directly, physically protecting your brain from that state of hypersensitivity that leads to migraine pain. There are two sides of the same coin.